This video is an overview of Microsoft Excel. The top part is called the ribbon tool, and it has different menus: File, Home, Insert, Page Layout, Formulas, Data, and Reviews. And we'll cover each of them briefly later. This is called the Quick Access bar on the top. And this is where we do mainly the calculation. We enter our data in the middle. Each of them is called cell. Each cell has an address, consists of the column address or ID and the row ID. And as you notice here, the columns, they have letters A, B, C, D, and so on. And the numbers from 1, 2, 3, and go all the way to just keep increasing. And the cell has the name of the cell or the address of the cell is the letter first. So in this case, like this is cell C2, if you can see it here. So this is just a quick overview. So remember that the columns are identified by letters, the rows are identified by numbers, and each cell has a name or an address that's the cross section between the column and the row. This area here is called the formula bar, and whatever you enter in the cell will appear in the formula bar. So let's type something here like equal 3 times 5, so you can see that also appears in the formula bar. And if you click enter, you'll get the answer to that, which is the 15. If you look at the lower right corner, you can make the font larger or smaller, so that you can see if you click on the minus sign, this is the zoom out. So that makes it smaller. If you click in the plus, this is the zoom in, which makes the view larger. And you can keep increasing until you get to something you can read. Next to it, there are 3 views. This is what we call the normal view. If you click in the next icon, it's called the page layout. So it can give you the different pages, what you will see in different pages. And then the last one is the page breakout. And this is mainly if we need to change the area that we want to print. So most of the time we continue working in the normal view, but we use the other ones to look at the different pages or to decide what you want to print. Sometimes you need to change the column width. So this is how you do that. You get to the top of the column, and when the mouse change from the plus, you can see to different shapes. Then you can between two columns, then you click on the mouse and then you drag to the left to make it wider, or you drag it to the other side to make it thinner, or to make it smaller width. And you can do the same thing for the rows. So you can get to the end, like to the number 1, and when the pointer change shape, you can pull it down so you can make it wider, or reduce the width. This is in the bottom, we call them tab. We usually think about it like a book, different chapters. So we could pick, like in my case, I have intro in one cell reference, which is I'm going to cover next in another tab, and formula. I can change the name like this one. I double click. So if you double click inside it, you could name it whatever you want. So I can call this like test. So it will change the name, and you just click outside, so it will change, or tab, or whatever name you want to call it. And that's important, to keep your work organized. You do different part of the work in different tabs, and then we can later we will learn how to reference one tab in the other. So even they are different, like different pages or different chapters, but we could reference one inside the other. If you need another tab, you click on the plus at the end, so you can see a plus sign. So when you click it, then it will add another tab. Like in this case, I have sheet 7, and I can change its name, tab 2, for example. And then for when we need to make formatting or make changes, we need to select cells. So the way we do that, we click and the left click on the mouse and drag. So this is how you can highlight, and whatever is highlighted, it will change color, and then we could either copy, paste, or cut, or do different formatting, like for the font. So that's the way we do it. We could select the whole column by clicking in the top. So let's say if I want to select the whole column here, I click on A. If I need to select A and B, I just drag, and I click on the A, and then I drag, so I can select multiple columns. And if you want to deselect, you just click outside the selection area. If I want to select a row, I just click in the number, like in this case, I could select row 13, I just keep left click and keep dragging until you are done. That's how you do that. If I want to deselect the area, I just click outside the selection. So when I select an area, I can make changes to it. Like let's say you can come to the home, I can change the filling to different color. So for example, I can change it to yellow or red or whatever. So that's how you do that. And or I could change if I highlight the text here, I could change the font to bold or to italic or any other highlights I want. So if I click that, I can make the text bold or italic, or I can make it larger font. So as you can see, and then if you want to reverse the changes, you can go back to the back arrow in the top, the quick access menu. So that will bring it back to the original font, or before you changed it, if you decide to make changes. So that's the redo button, and this is the undo in the top quick access menu. So let's look at each of the menus here and see what we could, the main thing we could do there. If you click on the file, mainly you have the home. If you need to make a new worksheet, you click on the new. If you want to open something you already created in the open, and this is of course where you save, or if you want to change the name, then use the save as. And then also we have the print, which is, we are going to cover that later. So that's important how to do the print, because in Excel, you have to make sure that all of the area inside the page that you want to print. So if you click on a print, we'll look into that later. Then make sure to always if you go to the scale, then you have different options, like you can make it a fit sheet on one page, or you could do something like fit all columns in one page, or fit all rows in one page. So you could pick one of these options. Then you could change the paper size. So we have like the letter, legal, or the A3, which is 11 by 17, or if you have other sizes, you could change that here. So you can see there are many options that you could pick from. And you could, if you have multiple pages, you could only select the pages that you want, and then you could change the printer, number of copies, and which orientation, horizontal or landscape. Export, again, we not going to do this in this class, and then close if you want to close the file and open a new one. So that's under file. If you go under home, again, you could copy. So again, to copy something, as I said, you have to highlight, then cut, copy, or paste. If you already copied something, you could paste. And there are different options for paste if you only want the values, or you want to paste with the format. And this is the format painter. That's also important. Let's say if I make something bold, then I could use that format painter to do other part the same thing. It's like a brush or that it can apply to it. Let's just go back to the normal. And then under the font, we could, as I said, we could change the font type. It's like Microsoft Word. You could change the font size. You could make it bold, italic, underlined, and you could put borders around it. So let's say if I want this to be with borders, I just click here and I put borders around it, and you can see there are borders around it. Let's just redo that, undo that. And we already went over the coloring. I could change the font color. So I could make the color like red in this case, or I could make it blue, green. And then I also could change the background. So like orange, blue. Just make sure when you do that, just make sure to match, use different things that can match together with background and font color. And then you could change the alignment. So you could make it align right or align left. Let's say if I put a number here, like 6, I could make it align left, or central, or align right, or I could make it also align top, or align in the align to the bottom. Then since it's number also, if you go to the numbers, we could decide how many decimal places we want to have. Like for the 6 here, I could add more decimal points. So just by clicking on that decimal point, so how many decimal places you want to show, or you could make it percent, add the percent, add the dollar sign, add numbers with the comma there. And these are different styles too. Okay, let's look at the next one. Which is the insert. So you could insert a table, picture, if you like to, you can insert picture. You could insert shape. So we have, these are the shapes that we could insert. And they have many applications that we need to insert shapes. You could insert smart art. So different processes and cycles, lists. We could insert charts, which is again, we are going to spend more time later on charts. So there are different types of charts like columns, lines, pie charts, and scattered shapes. For that, we need to have data to insert the charts there, and other ones that are less common. And then the page layout, and this is usually you decide to do the horizontal or the landscape, vertical or the landscape, and maybe I could change that from landscape to the vertical one. And you do other things here. You could add, if you click in the corner here, like you see the arrow, it will open another window where you could again do the same thing, change from landscape to horizontal. You can fit the area to maybe 1 page or whatever number of pages wide by number of pages tall. So I could make this just 1 page by 1 page, or I could make it 2 page wide and 1 page tall, and you can just pick something that's acceptable, that looks good. And then you can change the margins. So left, right, top, and bottom. And this is how you want it to be on paper. And if you want to add headers and footers for the report or for the whatever you print here, it will be in the top, like the day. You can put the date, or you could put any other information. You could make it customized. Maybe I can put here, I don't know, maybe the name. You could put the date in the left. Or any other information, the name of the file or topic. So that will appear on in every page when you print it. So that could be in the header or the footer there. And then for the sheets also, how do you want the sheets to, do you want to print grid lines or no? You could, how do you want the pages, if you have multiple pages, how do you want them to be printed, like down then over, or over then down? So that's this is the default here. And if you click on the option, that will give you other like the paper quality and the layout, as we already talked about the layout. So some of the options are more, we don't change them very often. We keep the default. You could change the paper if you have the printer from where to pick black and white or color printer. And then for the print view, we already saw this before. You could change the scaling. As I said, you could make it fit the sheet in one page, or fit all columns in one page, or fit all rows in one page. So this is for the scaling. Okay, let's look at, then the next tab is the formulas. And this is mainly the most important is the functions. We could insert function. Let's say if I want a function here, so I could insert a function, you get a window there. And here you could type what you want to find. So let's say if I want to look for what function is used in Microsoft Excel to find the average. So I just look for average. So you can see this is the name of the function. So it's average. And this is the format you should put, like average, and you put the numbers that you want the average for, the first number, second number, this one, and it gives you a description for each function, like this is the sum and the different numbers. So add all the numbers inside the parentheses of the function. How about, let's say we are going to look at this later, like max retains the largest value in the set of values. So mainly we select a set of values, then the function will look for the largest among them. So this is auto sum. Mainly you can highlight numbers, then Microsoft Excel can auto sum them or find the summation for them. Then the next menu item is the data there, and we could the most important thing we use is the sort. So if we have a list of names or numbers, we could sort them from the smallest to the largest, or alphabetically from A to Z, or opposite from Z to A. And the filter also, we are going to learn about this later. You could filter based on a number or a name in the cell. And then we have the review, mainly the spelling. So you could use like what you do with Microsoft Word. You could use the spelling, so it can look for any typo that you have there. So it's a good idea to run it, so you can find any mistakes in your worksheet. And for the view menu, you could remove the formula bar. So mainly by unchecking the formula bar, so it will disappear. So I think you should have it there. You could remove the headings, the column headings and the row headings by unchecking the headings. And you could actually remove the grid lines. So mainly you can see the grid lines there. If I uncheck that, all of them are gone. And yeah, these are again the zoom in, zoom out. So this is how to zoom, and I already showed you how to do the zooming from the bottom right. And then let's look at formatting. So let's say if I want to format, let's see 45. If I have something here I want to format, I could do it. I could can do it different ways, like we have it in. We could do it with the numbers here from the home. We could do it through the home menu. We could change the way it looks, and again we could add borders. We could change the alignment from left to right to central. We could change the format of the number, and we could right click and go to format cell, and this is kind of what you first tab is the numbers. So you could decide, do you want this to be a number or a currency or text or any other format. Let's say if we decide to make this a number, we know that this cell will be a number. Then if we click on the number, then it will ask us, how do you want it? How many decimal places do you want? Like I can make it with 2, or I could make it with any number of decimal places, and I could use the 1000 separator too, if the number is big. So if I click OK, so you can see it show me the number with 2 decimal places. Again, format cell is just remove that. I needed that. If you make it with currency, then it asks you what symbols do you want for the currency, like the $sign or any other currencies available. For accounting, again, or you could make a date, and then it will ask you for what format date you want. For time, again, what format time you want, percentage, and it will give you how many decimal places. Fraction, you could use different fraction and scientific notation too. So that will be with the E. And then text, if you need that number to be text. Sometimes it's important to change, because if you put zeros, let's say if I want 0, 0, 0, 1, if I just do that, the zeros will disappear. So I could change that to text, so I can still see the zeros. So format cell, and then change it to a text. And then now I could put 0, 0, 0, 1, 2. Then you can see the zeros stays there because that cell is formatted as a text cell. And other options too. And we already talked about the alignment. How do you want the alignment to look like? You could make actually also the text vertical, like you could also decide what angle you want. Then the font, you could pick the font that you want, and you could pick the size of the font. Then is it regular, italic, bold, or both? Then you could make the font superscript or subscript too. So let's say if I want to say X square, let's just do that later. So X square, so then I highlight the 2, and then format cell, then I make it superscript, or I want H2, like, then I make it subscript. And you could strike through text too, so format cell, and then strike through it. And we could do that. You could come to this also through that from home. under alignment in the corner there, so that you get the same menu. Sorry, under that the font. Okay, let's just delete this. And then for the quick access toolbar, you could change what appears there. Depends on what you use most. So you can click there, maybe the open or whatever, quick print. Maybe if you print, so you could just put a check mark. Just click on it to put a check mark, so you can see the quick print is already appeared there. You could maybe the sorting, ascending or descending. And if you need something that not listed there, you could click in more commands, and then look for what you are look for them in the most popular, or if it's not even there, you could put all commands. So that will give you all the commands in Microsoft Excel. And sometimes if you don't like to have the ribbon tool there, you could see in the right, you can just hide it, make it hide or collapse. So just there's a small arrow there in the right side. If you click on that, it will give you more space to work on if you need more space to work on your data sheet. And if you want it back again, just click on one of the menus like home, and then you see a pin there. So you click on the pin, then it will pin it back, so it does not disappear anymore. So just make it, this is how you make it disappear. Then to make it appear, you just click on one of the menu, and then you click on the pin. Okay, so that's merely quick overview of Microsoft Excel, and this is mainly what you will be using when we are doing the learning about how to do the graphs and cell referencing functions and other applications in this course. Okay, thank you.